The story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Long ago, during the time of Abraham, there were two cities in the region of Canaan, known as Sodom and Gomorrah. These cities were prosperous and well populated, but they were also filled with wickedness and sin. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah had turned away from God and were known for their cruelty, immorality, and injustice. God, observing the great evil in these cities, decided to send two angels in the form of men to investigate and see if their sins were truly as grievous as the outcry he had heard. Before sending the angels to Sodom and Gomorrah, God first visited Abraham, who lived nearby, in the form of three men. Genesis 18, 1-3. And the Lord appeared unto him, Abraham, in the plains of Mamre. And he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day, and he lifted up his eyes and looked, and, lo, three men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward the ground, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Abraham offered them water, food, and shelter. After eating and resting, the men rose up and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham walked along with them to see them on their way. Because Abraham was a righteous and faithful man to God, God made his intentions of destroying Sodom and Gomorrah to him. Genesis 18:20-22. Verse 20. And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great. 21. I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. 22. And the men turned their faces from thence and went towards Sodom, but Abraham stood before the Lord. Abraham, deeply concerned for any righteous people living in Sodom, pleaded with God, Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there are 50 righteous people in the city. Will you spare it for their sake? God, merciful and patient, agreed. If I find 50 righteous people in Sodom, I will spare the whole city for their sake. Abraham continued to intercede, lowering the number from 50 to 45, then to 40, 30, 20, and finally to 10. Each time, God assured Abraham that if even 10 righteous people were found in Sodom, the city would not be destroyed. Meanwhile, the two angels assigned by God arrived at Sodom in the evening. They found Lot, Abraham's nephew, sitting at the city gate. Lot recognized them as holy men and urgently invited them to stay in his home, offering them hospitality and protection. At first, the angels declined, but Lot insisted. That night, as the angels stayed in Lot's house, the men of Sodom surrounded it. They demanded that Lot bring the visitors out so they could be intimate with them. Lot, horrified by their wickedness, stepped outside to plead with the mob, Do not do this evil thing. In an attempt to protect his guests, Lot even offered his daughters to the crowd, a desperate and shameful decision that highlighted the depravity of the city. However, the mob refused and grew more violent, threatening to harm Lot. The angels intervened, pulling Lot back into the house and striking the men outside with blindness so they could not find the door. They then revealed their purpose to Lot. The outcry against this city is great, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. Gather your family and flee, for the destruction is imminent. Lot warned his sons-in-law, who were engaged to his daughters, but they thought he was joking and refused to leave. At dawn, the angels urged Lot to hurry, taking him, his wife, and his two daughters by the hand and leading them out of the city. They commanded them, Flee for your lives. Do not look back or stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away. Lot begged to flee to a small, nearby town called Zoar instead, and the angels granted his request. As soon as Lot and his family reached safety, the Lord rained down brimstone and fire from heaven, destroying Sodom, Gomorrah, and the entire plain. The once thriving cities were reduced to ashes, their wickedness wiped from the earth. The people who lived there tried to escape, but they were destroyed. However, as they fled, Lot's wife disobeyed the angel's command. She looked back at the destruction, longing for the life she was leaving behind. In that moment, she was turned into a pillar of salt. Lot and his daughters continued to Zoar, but fearing for their safety, they eventually moved to the mountains and lived in a cave. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah became a powerful warning of God's judgment against sin and a reminder of his mercy toward the righteous. This story reminds us of the importance of living righteously and trusting in God's commands, even when the world around us seems lost in sin. Thank you for watching. God bless you.